take a minute to tell you about the effects of foster care on a child. Every day in America, 160 children are put into a permanent foster home. These children have to say goodbye to their families, to their friends, and to the school that they attend to go into a home of a stranger. Imagine for a moment that you're 13 years old. A police officer and a caseworker knock on your door and ask you to come outside. They tell you you can only bring your clothes and one object out of your room, and that you'll be leaving with the caseworker. What would you feel? Would you hug your mother one last time? Would you try to escape this nightmare? This is a reality that many children had to face every day. I'm able to speak to you about the trauma of foster care because I myself am a former foster child. Not only do I have the first-hand experience of foster care, I've also mentored many children over the last 3 years. I want to offer you some insight and perspective on the foster care system in America by telling you about the potential long-term effects of foster care on a child emotionally, intellectually, and economically. To begin with, we must of course acknowledge that most children who are removed from their homes have a good reason to go. But even though it's for the safety of the child, it's still very traumatic. First, most children experience severe emotional damage. By the time a child is removed from their home, they've already experienced neglect and abuse. Being placed in a stranger's home might be necessary for the child's safety, but it's often just as traumatic. The child can start to feel like they're being punished for their parents' actions, and they might have feelings of resentment, anger, and anxiety. According to the Adoption and Foster Care Analysis and Reporting System, 1 in 4 foster children will experience lifelong PTSD. Secondly, a foster child's education is usually put on hold because of the stress associated with foster care. It may be difficult for a child to cope with the changes of living in a new home and going to a new school. Because of this, a child may experience uncertainty, which makes it difficult to focus on schoolwork. According to the U.S. Department of Education, most foster youth are more likely to drop out of high school than the average teenager. In addition to that, less than 3% of all foster children will ever get a college degree in their lifetime. Lastly, foster children who are not reunited with their families and who are not adopted are at high risk of homelessness. The day a foster child turns 18 is the day that the foster parents are no longer required to take care of the child or house the child. So without any family support or a place to go to, many foster children end up on the street or have to live with girlfriends and boyfriends. According to the Children's Rights Foundation, as much as 31% of foster youth will become homeless after turning 18. Homelessness is the biggest challenge foster children undertake. In summary, perhaps society should be more aware of the emotional, intellectual, and economic challenges children in foster care have to face, as well as be grateful that many of us never had to face these challenges. Although the challenges foster children face cannot be avoided entirely, some of the emotional, intellectual, and economic damages can be lessened by tactful case management and community awareness. It's been a pleasure to talk to you guys based on my personal experience and the years I've been mentoring foster children. I hope that this discussion has helped you, the audience, to have a better understanding of the impact foster care has on this country's foster youth. Thank you.